A clothing controversy is brewing in the Brandywine School District over this young lady's outfit.
Fort Myers High School, an honor student, class president, and team captain stripped of her prestigious title, all because she bared her shoulders during a speech.
It's an all-out outfit uproar. A dress code violation goes viral after a big sister slams a high school for sending her little sister home for wearing this outfit. Do you think dress codes penalize girls more than boys?
Dress codes have been a part of schools ever since their creation. Ensuring that students are dressed appropriately for the school day not only protects the learning environment, but also prepares students for a future in the working world. Most jobs require some sort of dress code, and therefore schools are simply preparing their students for a bright future. The implementation of dress codes also helps keep students safe. Dress codes have been shown to decrease violence and fighting in schools, as well as increase academic achievement. In addition, dress codes can help reduce teasing and economic envy between students. However, there are many consequences that arise due to dress codes, with the limitation of free speech being the major concern. Where do dress codes overstep their boundaries and begin interfering with the student's right to freedom of expression? Do dress codes affect both sexes equally, or is one sex targeted more than the other? Does the often dramatic enforcement policies of dress code provide more distraction to the learning environment than the outfits themselves? It's this debate that has divided the public as to how much power dress codes should be allowed to have in public schools across the country. In 1969, students at Des Moines Public High School in Iowa organized a silent protest against the Vietnam War. They planned to wear black armbands to show their support of a truce. However, when the principals learned of their plan, they warned that any student wearing an armband would be asked to remove it, and if not, would be suspended. The students sued the school district, and when the case reached the Supreme Court, they ruled 7-2 that the armbands constituted free speech and that in order to prohibit their expression, the school must prove that the bands materially and substantially interfere with the operation of the school. This ruling established the first hard line for dress codes, stating that neither students nor teachers shed their constitutional rights to freedom of expression or speech at the schoolhouse gate. As the 1960s and 70s progressed, the main controversy in classroom attire shifted mainly to young boys' hair. Men with long hair were frequently attacked by their peers and were then accused of provoking the attacks with their distracting appearance. By 1974, over 150 cases involving young men's hair in classrooms had been brought to court. In 1987, in the case of Olson versus Board of Education of School District Number 228, Olson was told by school officials that he could not wear a certain earring because they believed that it identified gang membership. Olson thought the anti-gang policy violated his First Amendment rights. However, the court ruled in favor of the school. Olson's message of individuality was not strong enough to fall under the First Amendment. Dress codes in high school undoubtedly affect boys and girls differently. Boys are more likely to be reprimanded for wearing clothing with messages that are deemed inappropriate, or for wearing clothes or accessories that are generally associated with female attire, such as earrings, long hair, or even skirts and dresses. Girls, however, generally get in trouble for wearing clothes that are thought to be too revealing and sexual. After students in Wauwatosa West High School in Wisconsin were sent home for wearing shorts that were deemed too short, a sophomore named Elizabeth Niffen put it best. "I understand that girls shouldn't be coming to school with their butts or chests hanging out, but there has to be a happy medium." However, the commotion created by deciding and enforcing where this happy medium falls, where the line is drawn, and the consequences for crossing this line creates an unhealthy learning environment for a multitude of reasons. Female dress code specifically is in place to create a distraction-free learning zone for male students, says Woodford County High School principal. At this school, the dress code prevents students from wearing shorts that go above the knee and shirts that expose the collarbone. Stephanie Dunn wore this seemingly fine and appropriate outfit, but because her collarbone was exposed, she was forced to return home and miss that day of school. There are many cases like this, where girls are being sent home, given detention, banned from attending school events, and even forced to wear brightly colored, embarrassing cover clothing provided by the school. One might say that this is fair because the rules apply to both sexes. However, the dress code is not enforced equally in many cases. At Tottenville High School, 200 students were given detentions for violating dress code, 90% of which were female students. School officials use dress code to unfairly discriminate against girls. Aside from the actual punishments themselves, there are other lasting effects on girls that dress codes create. One example of this occurred at Bingham High School in South Durand, Utah. Administrators at a school dance forced girls to sit against the wall, touch their toes, and lift their arms to determine whether their outfits were appropriate.
One student's account of the event stated that girls were outside the dance crying hysterically for having to perform the test administered by the school staff. These dress codes that disproportionately discipline girls do more damage than they hope to fix. Their attempt to create distraction-free learning zones fail on more than one front. Rather than reprimanding male students for being inappropriate and immature when a girl shows any skin, they can also create distractions in schools when a student must wear dress code violator cover clothing, be forced to leave, and in some cases, make the local, and in Stephanie Dunn's case, even national news. Aside from the simple failure to improve the school learning environment, it actually makes it much worse for many girls. The dress code makes girls feel self-conscious, ashamed, and uncomfortable in their own bodies, says one female student at Woodford County High School. While dress codes are an issue in themselves, they are also evidence of social inequality towards women. Generally, men's attire is rarely given a close look. Most outfits are just considered appropriate no matter what. In the case of formal wear, such as that at school dances, boys are encouraged to dress up in wear that simulates clothing of wealthy businessmen, corporate officials, and high-ranking officers when wearing suits and uniforms. Women, on the other hand, are encouraged by society to wear tight and revealing dresses. Businesswomen, women CEOs, and other highly paid female positions usually do not wear dresses for their job. They wear suits and other formal business wear. Another social dilemma that women and girls must deal with is finding the balance to look pretty without looking slutty. Girls are encouraged to make themselves up using makeup, fitted dresses, and revealing, sometimes sexual clothing. However, if they cross a line that is never permanently set, they are viewed as looking slutty and over-sexualized. While dress codes may be an attempt to address this issue, they fail miserably when school officials misuse their power and punish all girls that are wearing acceptable clothing.
Dress codes in educational environments were implemented with the best intentions. Safety, learning, and equality are all things that dress codes promise in theory. However, we have reached a day where they have become more destructive than progressive. They are distracting students from learning, they are suppressing individuality and creativity, but worst of all, they are teaching young boys to objectify women and create a culture where women are not looked at as people. What really is causing the distraction? The clothing or the policy?